everybody. Welcome back to Stop.Sit.Surrogate with just Kennedy today. Ellen says hello to everybody, but we do have some guests and I'm going to let them introduce yourself. Samantha, you want to go first?
Yeah, I am a mom of two, happily married, and this is my first surrogacy journey.
Yeah, well, yay. I didn't know it was your first. How exciting.
My name is Rachel. I'm a mother of two as well, and I'm slowly in the process of my second journey.
It's gonna speed up.
It's been a roller coaster, but we're getting there.
Yes, you are. Tara, you want to go next?
Yes, I am a third-time gestational surrogate. I have one child of my own, and I have been married for 5 years. 5 years.
Yay. Well, hello.
I'm Autumn, from New Jersey. I have one daughter. I'm not married, but I do have a boyfriend, and I'm currently on my second journey, trying to wait to test.
Oh my gosh.
It's very hard to wait.
Yes.
Only imagine. But you got this. You got this. It was only what? Like 2 days ago, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Just wait like 2 more days.
I'm so impatient.
I tell you right now, I didn't wait 2 more days.
Just like right away. Let's jump into this very controversial topic, shall we? Surrogates get paid. OMG, this is how taboo. I don't even know where to begin with this, but as surrogates, do you women feel like, because there are women who do this altruistically, I think that's what it's called, where like they don't feel like they need a compensation. And that's, I mean, more power to you. Like that's totally fine. I think that's everybody's preference. But what is your feelings on compensation? Like, I see Tara's face. You want to go, Tara?
For me, I even think that saying altruistic surrogacy, because I feel like all surrogates, that's everybody. That's what all of us are.
Yeah.
And just, I think it should be either compensated or not compensated. Everybody is altruistic.
I agree. I know. I never really understood why it's like, oh, like why it's so like more heartfelt if you're not compensated. Like I feel like we're providing a service. I think I said this before, and like we're the nanny before birth. And like after birth, you're gonna compensate your nanny because like your nanny's not gonna watch your child for free. Unless it's like a grandma. But that's the thing, like family, you can rely on family to do it for free, right? And so a lot of the times if the surrogate is related, they won't be compensated. That makes sense, but like there's a lot that goes into it. And I think that with everything that we have to endure body wise and mentally and emotionally and physically, it's a job. I know people don't like saying it's a job, but like it's kind
No,
of.
I can tell you right now, I think it's a second job.
Why do you think that?
Because it's hard. It's emotionally challenging for me. It's physically, oh my gosh, like the physical challenges I am having in this pregnancy are insane. So I think that I have every right to want to be compensated for that purpose. It's not easy being able to take care of my kids on top of somebody else's.
It's a lot, and it's full time. Like you don't get a second to, like you don't get to clock out for the weekend. Like you don't just get to be like, oh, I'm not going to be pregnant for the weekend and like I'll pick back up on Monday. Yeah, like that's not how it works. I think we all live in different states, if I'm not wrong. So is there, I don't know, I'm very biased. I'm California. So are your states different in the way that you guys get compensated? Is there a max out? Is there like only specific? I don't know how it works in your guys' states. You guys might not even be with agencies in your state, so that might be different then. No?
I'm not sure, but I can speak for my state, which is
Yeah.
Idaho. And I know that we are a cheaper state.
Okay.
We're really not anymore, but when it comes to our plans, I know like I'm just gonna say it. Mine is 32,000, where they upped it shortly after I signed contract, and I was like, dang. But but they only upped it by like 7,000. So
wow, for a first time surrogate, you're making less than $40,000.
mhm.
Wow, that is it's very different. It's very, I thank you for sharing that. For comparison, California, my first time, I made 55.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's a huge, huge, huge difference.
See, and that's crazy because I carry twins. I carry twins and I was in California.
Yeah.
And I only made 35.
Wow.
So I think it also
Rachel.
No.
But see, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It needs to be talked about.
It does.
Because a first time surrogate, no one talks about compensation.
Mm-mm.
And
Right.
the agency was just like, bam, here you go. This is your like, I didn't think I could negotiate it. Like that's what it was.
Wow.
Like, so I wish it wasn't so like just taboo and be like, oh, la 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 la, so I don't know.
Are both of the agencies that Samantha and Rachel that you guys are with, were they in your state?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
So that's I don't know if it's like, oh, since your agency is in a different state, we're only going to do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like
where you live, they say, which I think is literal BS.
They
They're like,
did that
we
for
live
me
in
too.
Jersey, and then it's like
Okay,
it's lower
because I'm like,
it doesn't make sense. Everyone should get the same base pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like especially if like I never understood why. I mean, like personally, I think that first time surrogates should get paid a minimum of 50. That's just what I think for a first. I don't care where you live. Like,
yeah, same. I feel that.
I know that California is like crazy expensive to live in, and making 50, is nothing. But like at the same time, if you live, I don't know, you said Idaho's cheaper, right? If you made 50,
that's
that
minimum
would be
wage in a
helpful.
year here.
I'm sorry?
Our minimum wage here is
Yeah.
$7.25 an hour still.
What?
I know.
I did not. Don't look at my eyeball.
Right.
I'm barely making it.
Wow.
Yeah. No, and we have higher income jobs, but like,
Still.
if you didn't, like, coming out of high school, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So essentially, that 32,000, that's all I'm getting paid if I were to be right out of high school right now.
That is crazy to me. That is very interesting. So, because you're a first-time surrogate, like, because clearly this isn't a conversation that's had. That's why we're having it, because it's so wild to me how they get first-time surrogates. Because once you've done it, then you're like, oh, I know what this takes, and this is my price tag now, and like, but so they just told you, Samantha, they were just like, this is what a first-time surrogate makes, like, period.
Yep.
That's what mine did to me as well.
Didn't
That's
really
what
give me much of an option, but I know my agency, they're very big on advocating for surrogates. So I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
And I know that they were trying to get it upped, but they couldn't say, and they're very small, very, very small.
Sure.
So I went with it. But I think the only reason why I just went with it was because my aunt was a surrogate.
Okay.
So being around it, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Oh.
I'm kind of like regretting it. I'm like, I need to go back.
No. Wait, you're regretting being?
No, I'm regretting my being okay with my base pay.
With your base. I got you. Yeah. But at the same time, you didn't know.
Right.
So like you're not gonna know any better. Like you're like, you're not gonna you're just not gonna know what to ask for. But Tara, they did the same for you. They just told you like flat out, this is what you're gonna get, girl.
Yeah, and at the time when I had first went with that agency, it was because I knew a girl that was going through them, and she was still pregnant at the time, and my base was already 10,000 of what she was, so they had already like started to increase. But they told me at that time, because you're in Wisconsin, here's where you can be. If you were in California, and it was like in California, it was like $20,000 more.
Yeah.
So I was like, Oh, that's a little bit weird of that because I'm not in California. I get it. It's more expensive to live. I'm in Wisconsin. It's cheaper to live, much cheaper than California. But still, they definitely let me know that that would be the case for me.
It's so interesting. I've always heard that the reason Californian surrogates get paid more is because we're such a surrogate friendly state. And like,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense if the IV clinic is here and like,
Mhm.
like if everything is in the hub of basically everything's like in LA or San Diego. But
Mhm.
so like I understand that part, but at the same time, like I don't know because there are clinics all around every state. And so
All
like
over. All
all
over.
over. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense why a California surrogate would get paid so much more. Because really, making $50,000 as a first time surrogate in California is like making $32,000 as a first time surrogate in Idaho. It's not it's a minimum wage job for doing so much.
Yep.
It's crazy. Autumn, what happened with your first journey then?
They flat out gave me like they said 40,000 was like the first time surrogate base pay. And I knew nothing about the
Yeah.
compensation, so I was like, oh yeah, it's a lot. But now I asked for a lot more.
Yeah,
Because
well,
I'm a second time surrogate and now I know. Because
yeah.
there's first time surrogates getting what I'm asking for as a second time surrogate. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's,
They lowballed me with that number.
and that's what they my if my mom was here, she would like correct me and be like, no, don't blame them. And I'm like, no, I'm not blaming anybody, but it's it's just a lot of the times first time surrogates are taken advantage of in
They
the
are.
agency industry. It's just I think we've
Absolutely.
all been there at some point in some situation. And it's just irritating. And compensation is so taboo. How dare we get paid? But okay, so like let's get into a little bit of it. Okay, so someone's asking if anyone has ever done all inclusive. Like, I guess that means like you just
Base, everything.
like everything just pile it into one, right? Is that what that means, Rachel?
I talked to somebody that I don't know if I can say her name, so I'm not gonna say her name.
Yeah.
But I talked to her and she was like, "Well, my base comp is this because I'm doing all exclusive, so I'm not everything's coming out my base comp." So I was like, "That's very interesting. I've never heard of that." But again, people don't talk about compensation, so I was like, "Oh, okay, that's how it works." So, which is kind of I guess you could go higher on your base comp because you're like, well, I don't need any of this because it's coming out my base.
I guess. Yeah. So like so what that means like no transfer fee, no med start fee, no like my concerns with that would be like okay, like what if I'm on bed rest? Like or what if I have to have a
So I think she does get that, but they give it to her in it's kind of like your you know how they give you your monthly for your
the
base comp,
breakdown? Yeah.
the breakdown, yeah. So I think it would be like you'll still get it during those times, but it's coming out of the base. I'm not
I
Okay.
100%
heard there's like a
sure
cap
like
on it. I heard there's like a cap on like lost wages too, and an all
The-
exclusive.
Oh,
Yeah.
and all exclusive. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
wow.
So I was just like, oh, that's very interesting to know. I didn't know that, and every surrogate is different. So
Yeah.
I mean that's cool. I mean I would kind of like that just for the like mileage because I hate turning that crap in and doing all that.
It's so much work.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, I gotta put the dang mileage in. I gotta do all this stuff.
Yes.
I'm just
I'm
like,
doing that right
kind of be
now.
nice
I'm
just
like
to have
You're kidding.
math.
Do you have to send that to escrow? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Oh, what a pain in the butt.
y'all. I mean, I know we're jumping the gun, but if you guys watch not Tara, if you watch Kennedy's videos, she's never got paid through escrow. It's only been checks from her.
I did
So
it my
that's why
first
she's like,
journey. And I was like, never
Yeah.
again, because my financial would put holds on the checks all the time
Yeah.
because such a large lump sum. And I was like, it matches the funds. Like, let me have it. And they're like, well, we have to wait. And I was like, you are so ridiculous. So I told her, like, don't you ever do that to me again.
It was crazy. They did that to me on my last one because my last checks were around 10 grand and they were like, hi, you have so much money. And I'm like, well, I have a side job. I don't need to tell you.
Have a side job.
Yeah, like it's fine. Oh my God. But, I mean, to each their own on an all-inclusive, I would just be really, personally, I would feel not as secure because I just don't know what all-inclusive is. But you know, I just don't know how that would end up protecting me if like the unexpected happens. But maybe there's something in place in the contract. Like, I don't know, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Out there knows more information or has done all-inclusive. Like, I think a lot of us would be interested in that because if you can go, I don't know. I'm mixed. Okay. So for those who are second timers and more, were you afraid to ask for more?
No. My agency actually had said, like, here's like, because you're a second time, and they bumped it up quite a bit after that. They're like, here's where you are, we can do more. And so I thought that was nice.
Okay. And you feel good with how much more? Like, you
yeah,
feel like
at the time, because it was a sibling journey, so I was like, okay, like, because I know them and I know everything that their fertility doctor, the med protocol, I was like, yeah, for them I will do it at that price.
Perfect. Then that's what matters. Did you guys feel comfortable? Well, you're still in your journey, right, Rachel? I'm pointing, but you can't even realize how I'm pointing to. I'm like, oh my goodness. I don't know.
Gotta be like so with me, I kind of like, since it's my second journey and all that, broken match, all that, you know, I was at a certain rate. Oh shoot, I'm gonna just tell you, I was at 50.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, match is broken. It's been like over a year. And I'm like, I feel like I should get a little more because I feel like first time surrogates are kind of getting that now.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me bump it up to 70. But for some reason, I had to go with a VIP. That's a whole nother story. And sorry for my daughter. That's my daughter.
Oh, you're good.
So with my match, they were like, oh, can we meet you at 65? So I was like, fine, okay, sure, you know. So that's where I'm at right now. So my first one I really didn't like make that. They kind of just gave it to me because my first journey and my second journey are not the same agency. So I don't know if it's like, if you go to a different agency, they're kind of just like, boom, here you go, you know? Yeah. Or when you're like a first time with them.
Yeah.
But that's how kind of that ended up. So
I've been with 2 different agencies. So my first one, I said I made 55. I went to a different agency. My first agency was a no, but I went to a different agency and they were like, oh, second time surrogate, great, you can make 60. And I was like, no, I'm going to go 10 more because that's what Google and my research says I can do. And they're like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, good. So I went 65 for my second. But for their first, it's 50. And I was like, well, I already did my first. So like, I'm not going to go back to being first just because I'm with a new agency. That doesn't delete what I just did. Like, no. And then,
gotcha.
Yeah. And then for my third, I was with that same agency and, I asked for, well, I really didn't know what to ask for. Cause like, I just like asked for, I was like, okay, well, we can do like, I want to do 75 to 80. And they're like, okay, but we only have like this kind of couple. And y'all know how that turned out. And I was like, well, it's gonna go 80 then. That still wasn't enough to deal with these people. But and now this time it's a bit chaotic, but it's fine. It's all there and it's getting done. But the different agencies have different caps is what I've noticed. So it doesn't really matter because I'm a 4th time surrogate. So I'm not making what I thought a 4th time surrogate would make. I'm just gonna be honest. My research and it's so funny, everywhere I called, you're 4th time surrogate? Oh my gosh, $90,000 for your base. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, called a couple more places and 3 of them said 100. And I was like, nobody has that kind of money. I will not be matched for like 7 years. Like it's just not going to happen. But the agency that I'm with, I found out has a cap, which it's all good. So I'm not making what I wanted to, but I'm making very close to it. So I'm coming out around the same. It's just in a different way, which is compensation's weird. They break things, every agency breaks things down differently. But something that I've learned from what I'm going through right now, which I'll explain about later. I'm not going to take up this whole thing to talk about it, but something that I learned about now is ask how much is going in your pocket. I don't care how rude that sounds. Like you're getting paid for something. Know how much you're going home with, because a lot of the times agencies want to sneak in like, oh, well, you'll get this for that. Yeah, but what if I don't use that? Like, can I not, like, I don't want to just have money sitting there. Like, so if I can tell you like, oh, I want A and not B, can we up it a little bit? Do you know what I mean? To like make it more balanced for the surrogate. That's just my personal opinion. Okay. Are you ever willing to lower it? Is there ever a time that you would?
I lowered.
So did I, Rachel.
I lowered mine, so
Not happening.
No.
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 You have to be a really, really nice couple that I really like for me to lower it.
Completely fair. No, it's
And I really like my I am right now, so
good.
you have to be really good for me to lower it.
Good. Anybody else? Takers?
I mean, no one really
Tara's just like
making the least over here. I'm like, no, I'm not lowering.
You shouldn't. You should up it. You should way up.
Knowing what I know now, I wish it was talked about more, because like I can tell you everything went by so fast and I was like almost pressured into it. I didn't get to like really sit on it for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah.
So it is talked about on Facebook, but we don't know how Facebook groups are, and it's filled with like these old surrogates who think you should get 35 as a first-time surrogate nowadays, and that's just not. And they think you're like selfish for doing more. And it's like,
you guys,
you were surrogate like what, 20 years ago? Bye. That's just my opinion.
It's insane.
Rude, but
Man, I wish my mom was here right now, because she would just be like, oh my, like
I feel like she would be one of the ones that would like one of the older surrogates that would agree with us though on we should ask for what we
definitely
feel
agrees.
Our worth is.
Yeah. She's
but
like,
there's older surrogates that are not like that at all.
Autumn. This is going to be so controversial. Let's see if I keep it. But I feel I can't do Facebook groups. They're so toxic. Everybody's so mean. It's just not good for my health or my blood pressure.
I left Facebook after my first surrogacy journey. Like as soon as I delivered, I haven't been back on since, because it's so toxic. It's just not a good place.
It's not a good place. No one there is really advocating for like, there's no advocation for like I don't even know if it's a word, but like there's nothing for surrogates. It's like, let's beat them down, and it's like, why? Like I don't understand this community over here. Instagram's way better. I'll stay here.
They do get upset if they find out that you made more as a first time than what they did. I mean, of course, we're both doing the same job.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're going to be upset if your coworker is making more than you and you did the same thing. Like, that's very upsetting. But why be mean to them about it instead of like, tell more surrogates about like, hey, this is what actual compensation would be as a first time. This is what it is now. Here's what it was. But moving forward, there's such a demand for surrogates that they're because they need so many surrogates. I mean, there's not enough. So you have to pay them accordingly.
No, I think you said that perfectly, because like, I would be pissed if I did this 20 years ago and I made like 30,000 or whatever it was then, and now hearing what everybody's making, I would be like, what? Why? Like, I get that it wasn't so accepted and talked about back then, but like, I would feel a little bit bitter as a human. I'm not speaking for those who are saying this on Facebook, but I don't need the daggers coming at me, but like, it's just like, This is like gonna become a freaking slogan. There, you can disagree with somebody respectfully. You don't have to like disrespect them. Like there's a respectful way to disagree with something. I don't get it. But just stay away from Facebook.
Yeah, my crazy self decided to take my little butt into a freaking compensation group. Now I wasn't gonna comment or nothing.
Yeah.
Rachel.
But these heifers, I'm sorry, you can cut that out if you want. These heifers are crazy. Like some people are like, well, I did it for 25. I was like,
good for you.
To each their own.
I mean that's great, you know. I was like, I didn't know. And then some people are like, oh, it doesn't depend on the state. It's just like whatever you feel is necessary, or you can go up or down or whatever. So some people did it for like 50 sometimes, and the next time they did it for like 30. And I was just like, I got out of that group. I was like, this is too much for me. I couldn't. Nope. I can't. I don't understand y'all. Y'all crazy. This is definitely like, I mean, I'm like, good for y'all. That's how you feel about it. I just wanted to learn where other people, like other surrogates were, like where their mindset was at for compensation, you know? So I was just like, don't say nothing in the groups. Just keep my head low and just stalking them, trolling them a little bit, just looking, you know? But I was just like, that's very good information. I mean, to learn what surrogates like, you know, like, oh, I just want to only do it for 20. It's like, okay, cool. You know, like you really want to help out, because I know surrogacy is not cheap at all, for IPs at all. So it would be nice to see like the IP side of prices and all of that good stuff. So
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. I talked to my first intended parents about the price of how much, and I was like, what? Like that's why is my comp like this compared to all of this? Like, and then the agency fee, I was like, excuse me?
Oh my gosh, don't.
Who's carrying the baby?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I have learned in this journey, luckily I've made some good friends, and my agency even, they are like telling me like, okay, so like, you know, this is how much money is going towards this way and this way and this way and this way. And it's really nice to like know. And then but like I also feel like guilty at the same time. So like I wish like I didn't know, just like the naive me, because I'm just like, oh God, my heart. Like I just like it doesn't feel good to know, but I feel educated in knowing. But it is wild what some agency fees are, because they go from like 15 to like, I think the highest I heard was 40. And I'm like, wait. That's a full set. That's a surrogate. Like 40K is like a first time, maybe second time surrogate. Like, explain that. And that's just the agency fee.
I think if I knew the numbers and I really like the IPs, I would be willing to go down.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that.
So
then I'm like, well, damn. Let me help you where I can help you if I can, you know.
Yeah. So, and that's where I kind of was, because I went in with my base at 90. All right, y'all, here it comes. I went in with my base at 90. I've stuck to my guns, and I had a mental breakdown because I wanted to stick to my guns, and a few of you, I like talked to you guys about it, and it killed me a little because I didn't want to look like a fraud. But I went down because I know how much it is for my IPs, and I if I didn't love them to pieces, I would not have budged. Like, but I love them, so I went down to 80. I went down about 10. But overall, I'm coming out around 91. So it's okay. I'm not offended. I love them. And you know what? In the end, I'm happy. They're happy. Everybody's good. They can afford it. They can get their baby. So like, it's working out. But yeah, it would be really interesting to have an IP, or maybe, I don't know, somebody trustworthy to like just tell us what the actual breakdown is, because I know they have lawyer fees. We're going off tangent, but like I know they have lawyer fees and IVF and the surrogate and the agency fee and who knows what else.
A lot of that is in my contract.
Oh, you're kidding.
Like, I see everything they saw, I saw.
That's kind of
wow.
That's kind of cool.
I was like, ooh.
Oh wow.
Reactions. Yeah, so everything they saw, I saw. So I got to see like their breakdowns. I don't think I saw everything.
Yeah.
But I did get to see like the lawyer breakdown, the agency fees, all around what they're paying.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know how they are affording it.
I know that people take out loans, take out second mortgages. I mean, people do a lot. And like when you hear that as a surrogate, that
makes me sad.
It makes you feel so sad, but then it's like, okay, I don't know how to say this and not have it be twisted, but like that is awful. Of course, as surrogates, we don't want that burden on any IP. Like we don't have that kind of heart. But at the same time, if you're a surrogate who wants to be compensated for a journey, you have the right to be compensated for a journey and not to feel awful about what you're asking for, especially if you're experienced. Like you just know what goes into it. I just don't think that people talk about it enough. And so we all have this like weird guilt.
Yes, definitely.
Ay, ay, ay. Let's see. Okay, so for your compensations, when did you guys start getting compensated? Like, well, obviously it was after contracts, or I'm going to assume it was after contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then did you guys get like bonuses for like like that was not included with your base? Like not included with your base. Did you get like transfer fee, start of meds fee, I don't even know what else there would be. I forget now.
Do you guys get a contract? Sign a contract?
Yeah.
Contract fee?
Yeah.
I did with my first agency.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm getting one with this. Well, I got one with my last one too. So yeah, I'm getting another one for signing. But
yeah, I was gonna say a sign-on bonus that was really nice with my last agency. I got that as well. I noticed they sent me an email not too long ago. It was like sign-on bonus is $4,000. I was like, that's awesome.
I know.
I'm not.
That's a big sign-on bonus.
It is.
Yeah, that is a nice sign-on
what
bonus.
the hell? I want that.
I never had a contract. I never had like a contract bonus, but I had one sign-on bonus, just one. But that's what pulled me to the first agency. I was like, oh, okay. Give me that. But
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So contract. That's nice.
And then like clothes, maternity clothes. Yeah. Everyone gets that. I know that one can range. I know that one's a bit.
Yeah, I've seen it vary.
Yeah. I've in one of my contracts, I don't know if you guys had this, but like I know that you can either get like a one lump for maternity or I've had it broken up. So it's like, oh, here, after like 4 months, go shopping. And then, oh, here, after like 6 months, go shopping some more because you're going to get bigger. And it's like,
I kind of wish mine was broken up because my body, like I just popped a belly out so fast. I feel like I couldn't fit into my jeans at like 7 weeks. And I was like, okay, this is not normal. Okay. So here I am not fitting into like anything. I actually had to, out of my own pocket, go and get maternity clothes because I wasn't allowed to get my bonus for that until I was about
12 weeks. 16? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I
think that was my first one too. And I was like busting at seams because med bloat and then like however many more pregnancies each time. I swear, like as soon as the pregnancy stick dries, I'm like with a belly. And I was like, I need maternity clothes sooner than this.
Right. In like 16 weeks. Are you for real?
Yeah.
I like go back and like double check the contract. So I was like, is this serious? Are we for real? I was like, I have no clothes.
So you didn't keep any of your clothes from when you had your kids?
So my oldest is 7.
Oh, never mind.
That was me as well. I was like, that was many years ago. That's gone. I had lost so much weight after him, so none of those clothes fit me. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to just go shopping.
I was lucky enough to be able to borrow some from a friend who just got over being pregnant, and she's tinier than me, so I'm shocked that anything fit me. So it's like, I don't think this is gonna fit, but we're gonna try.
And maternity clothes aren't cheap.
No.
Like they're not cheap. I've been pregnant back to back to back ever since I had my son. So I have 3 giant bins that I just pass around to my friends, and we all just add to it. We're just like, it's just too
Traveling,
much.
like the traveling pants.
Yeah, but it's like the traveling like giant boxes like from Home Depot of just like clothes.
Love it.
I don't really use maternity clothes.
No,
My style changes so much. Like from like the beginning of my surrogacy journey ever, like back in 2018. That is, I don't know who that girl is anymore. I would never wear that. So I have like all those clothes. I'm like, ew, I don't want to wear them. That's not who I am anymore.
I'm right there with you. I'm just too cheap to go buy more. I'm just like, no, I'm gonna wear these for like 4 months and then whatever. It's okay. I don't leave my house anyways, so I'm just like,
I don't think I had maternity clothes with my first, like at all. I wear yoga pants. Like,
that's with my son, like, and big shirts. Like I was,
and dresses.
For at the time.
Dresses are life when you're pregnant. Like they're so easy. It's just like, yes.
Yeah, you don't really have to think about it.
You don't have to think about it, and then like you're not sweating in places you don't want to like sweat, and like you just get air.
Or I steal my husband's shirts, put those on, now good to go.
Perfect.
I'll be shopping all his clothes. I'm like, you gonna wear this? He's like, no, okay, I'm gonna wear it.
Anybody ever negotiate for a comp? You guys ever go back to the agency? They said this, and you said nah.
Yeah. I did, and I said goodbye.
Oh, you said goodbye because they wouldn't compromise.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't want to go back and forth with that. I was like, no, I will not be doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we discussed this, and you said yes, and I said yes, and now you're trying to lower it, and I was like, no. I was like, I already no, I'm not doing that. So
were you
there's no
yet?
negotiating. No.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so they just like did it to you like in the beginning. Well, I'm better in the beginning than later. Okay, Autumn, you said you did it too.
Yeah, for my second journey, they tried to tell me I'm getting I think they said 50. It was either 50 or 55 for a second time surrogate, and I was like, no, that's not enough. And so they reached to 65, and I was like, no, still a no for me. Because I was looking at other agencies and they like agreed to give me 70.
Yeah.
So I went back to them and I was like, I have another agency offering me. I actually had an IP at a different agency offer me 90. So I was gonna go with them, but they were just not treating me like a human. So I went back to my original agency and I was like, I have this couple, even though I already like broke off with them. And so they agreed with 70K. So I was like, that's great. I don't recommend my agency though to anyone. So if you know my agency, I don't recommend them.
Okay.
Just so we know. Well, ACRC Global, I'm on my second journey with them, and I'm not pleased. So I wish I went, but I really do like my IM, so
that's good. At least I think that it's more important. Well, I don't think it's more important. I think that if you're stuck in an agency, you best be on really good terms with your IPs. Like otherwise, if you're on bad terms with both, just simple.
Like a bullshit.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
It has to be one or the other. You can't have both on the surrogate. That's awful.
No, it's awful. Tara, were you gonna say something? Because I think.
Oh yeah. When I had first, because the negotiation had happened twice, where I was gonna go independent, and the intended parents were thinking a different comp for me, and they just wanted that, and then like nothing else as well with it. I was like, no guys, that is not how that goes with surrogacy, unfortunately. At least that's how I wanted to go, and so I had to break in. I really loved them, but unfortunately it couldn't work out because it was not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times surrogates are guilted to settle. Like, and it's just
that hurt my heart.
I bet it did, because if you liked them, like,
yeah, I had been thinking forever, like I want to be their surrogate. Like I was seeing them all the time. I was like, they are the ones, And so it's like really hard to be done after that. I was like, oh, so very sad. I wish them the best as to
Yeah.
whatever they're doing now, though.
Yeah. Hopefully they got another really good surrogate with
Yeah.
them. Oh, but that is hard. Have any of you, I mean, good transition for this, but have any of you, I'm sure you have, well, the question is surrogates shaming other surrogates for what they request. I have been drastically shamed. And like just I don't care, whatever. Like,
Me.
yeah. Wait, you've been shamed for what you request?
Yeah.
Like for what you're like for being paid?
What are they wanting you to do? Do it for free? Oh
We're
I
my
gonna-
god.
know.
Well, my aunt's a three-time surrogate too, and so it's not like she's new to this and she knows about the compensation better than I. But when I stated that I wanted to, like, my second journey is going to be looking a whole hell of a lot different.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going to be pickier with my match this go around. Like, I wasn't as picky as I probably should have been. I learned a lot of lessons in this journey, which is good.
Yeah.
But when it came to my compensation, I was like, yeah, for what we all have to go through and the unknowns of everything and to make sure our children are taken care of, like,
a lot.
why wouldn't I request more? And she got really upset with me. She was like, how dare you as a surrogate? You're supposed to be in it with your heart. And I was like, well, I am. What are you talking about? Like, so we went back and forth. We had a big old debate, but
And she was a surrogate and she's kind of in that, I'm not saying that she's that Facebook people, but she's in that realm of people who did it a long time. Damn it, Ellen, where are you?
I think
like,
she did it. I was in like middle school.
Right not here.
So I know, like, yeah.
yeah. That's very, very interesting. Cause yeah, if she knew about it back then, because she did it, but
I don't think she's ever
everybody
been
feels,
taking her compensation though. I think she's totally just like whatever.
and
she was like,
some are, and that's yeah. To each, when it comes to compensation, to each their own. It's just like, don't shame somebody else because they're asking for something. If they want to ask for it, let them ask for it. They're not affecting your personal life. Like, it has nothing to do with you over there. It has to do with me, my family, everything that it takes for us to go through. Because it's not just you. It's your kids. It's your spouse, your partner, your whoever watches your kids, while maybe the grandparents. It's a lot goes into it. So I'm really sorry that you were shamed by family even. That's hard. That's a hard hit sometimes. Oh man. Have any of
That's why you just hit the block button. That's what I did. Hit the block button. That's what I did. I had an uncle. He told me I was a bad mother for being a surrogate. So I was just like,
I've
beep,
had
boop,
people
boop,
tell me
boop.
that's the one reason why they won't become a surrogate. I know somebody who would be so wonderful as a surrogate, but she has no family support from it. I would be like fingers up, like I don't care what you get. That like that's unfortunate for you, but I will be doing what I want. Thanks.
Yeah.
But I felt really sad for her. I was like, that's so sad because she would be so wonderful as a surrogate. And it's been on her heart forever, but she just won't do it because her family does not agree with it. They say that she's selfish and that how could you do that to your kids? What if you die? And stuff like that.
God, people always gotta go so dramatic. Like,
Right,
look
I'm
at
like,
the statistics. Like, yes.
my body's being owned from across the world all the time.
I'm sorry, say it again.
My sister tells me all the time that my body's being owned from across the world.
Oh God.
All the time. So I totally feel that. And but whatever. My husband supports me. It's good enough.
But people don't say that. People never say, "Oh, what if you die when you're pregnant with your own baby?"
Right.
Because it can happen.
The same risk. What do you mean?
There's literally no. I mean, I don't know the statistics on this, so I really should be saying this. But somebody come tell me the additional risks, like of being pregnant as a surrogate. I get that you're on more hormones, but other than that, I really.
Those stop even. But the extra hormones will eventually just stop.
Well, right. And like there are people who don't use a surrogate but do IVF with their own baby, and nobody tells them like, oh my gosh, you're doing IVF, you're gonna die. Like what? Like it's just
Right.
it makes no sense to me.
It doesn't.
It makes no sense.
I've had some crazy questions come at me.
Oh my
Like,
God.
other than what if you die? Do you have a will set in place? And do you, like, what happens if the parents don't show up? Kind of questions. And I'm like, why are we
Yeah.
putting
Well, I mean, technically though, that all should be in your contract. Like
Right.
if like now they're getting better at it because I think COVID kind of like threw a wrench in everything. So they're like, where do the babies go? Because like it's like, oh. Oh, has anybody else been like surrogate shamed?
Yeah. For my
Yeah,
compensation.
Yeah, I feel like when people like how when we make videos about that, people like literally think that we're just pulling this out of our butts. Like I'm like, people have literally said those things to me. Like I've gotten messages on Instagram. If sometimes like when I don't go out in public and tell people like I'm a surrogate, like fully pregnant at the store, because I don't know who those people are, what they're gonna say to me. Because some people are ridiculous. So, but yeah, I've had weird things said to me about being a surrogate. I'm like, you clearly do not know. Like, I'm not just making this up on my reel to like, here, what should I think some random person would ever say to me? It's like, I literally said that. Like, someone said that to me.
Right. It's not just clickbait. It's like, oh yeah, let me
Right.
just think of like crazy, funny things. No, these are like surrogates, and it's not just you who gets who these things are said to. Like surrogates are it's crazy. I mean, people have Candace Owens, I'm gonna throw this in real quick. We're prostitutes. We're prostitutes, you guys, for being paid. So
Someone keeps saying something about her, but I don't know celebrities. Is that like
I looked her up since the last one.
You don't want to.
I don't like her.
Don't go down the rabbit hole.
don't do it,
Don't
Tara.
even look? Okay.
You'll get
Tara,
so
All it will do is just fire you up, because I just got so upset. Like my husband was totally like, you can shut up now.
Don't, Tara, just don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. You are such a happy, beautiful soul. Don't do it. Just don't even Google her. If you see her, block her. Don't look at her.
Oh, sounds awful.
it is awful. It is awful.
And she doesn't just talk about surrogates. She just talks about every little thing that you can think of. And coming from and she even talks about Black people. So it's just a whole situation. It's a whole situation. And she Black herself. So don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Keep your peace, girl. Keep your peace.
Oh my God. So is she like a public figure or what is she? Okay. Like,
yeah, I
she's
think
like
she's like a speaker.
She's like a very political. She's a very political conservative to the max public figure.
Oh.
Yeah, don't go click, Sarah.
Yeah,
they warned me about her, and I didn't listen. So don't look her up.
I'm not even.
I told you. Listen
to
me.
You did tell me.
I told you, don't click on her. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because she really like when you watch her videos, she gets under your skin. So just don't.
Someone said I added pelvic floor rehab and increased maternity clothes allowance because hello inflation. So I mean, yes. Yeah, when it comes to compensation, I think it's good to know that like you can ask for more or you can supplement things in. Like I just found out about a wellness package. Never in my life did I know that a surrogate could have a wellness package. And now I'm going to have like prenatal massage.
I think it's with the agency.
I
think it's with the agency. I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
Because I didn't have a wellness package with my first journey.
Oh, okay.
What you think I would have got one since I had a C-section, but that's a whole nother story that we're not going to talk about. Anyways, but I got one with this one, so I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
But yeah.
And what did you say, Tara?
I said I was too scared to ask for like literally anything extra because I didn't want to be, because I felt like my comp is already high, and then I didn't want to feel like how surrogates always are told when their comp is high that they're being greedy, and I didn't want to ask. So I was like, I will just pay for whatever I want out of my own pocket.
Okay. So now I'm happy that you said this. Let's get into it. Okay. Yeah. You deserve your compensation. And I'm like looking at you, but like everybody here and everybody who's a surrogate, you deserve what you're asking for. And I think this is where the surrogate shaming comes into, is that we're shamed into thinking you guys are so greedy. No, and what's interesting is a lot of the times the people who want to say that we're greedy and have judgmental thoughts and sayings on surrogates aren't even a surrogate themselves. So like don't you shouldn't comment on the matter unless you
They just mad
prove
for
it.
getting money. That's why.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I mean, I can absolutely understand where you're coming from, Tara, and I think a lot of us can't. None of us want to feel greedy, and that's why I think a lot of the times we make settlements and somewhat sacrifices to like help out, I guess, and you know, like kind of be like, I have a good heart, like my heart's not bad, but like at the same time, I want people to know that it's okay to ask, because the worst that's going to happen is no, it's okay. Okay, fine, great. But you know what? And I think the hardest thing is to ask. I think that's the hardest thing for us to custer up, because it's like, but my comp is so high. Like, I should just be able to do this myself. And like, yes, we can, but all in all, like, my age, like what, because like I've never had heard of a wellness package, like, girl, get yourself a massage. I was like, okay, well, if you're gonna advocate that for me. And they're like, yes, like surrogates need to have a little bit of pampering. That's not like, you can go get your nails done on your own time, but like if it's gonna benefit you in your pregnancy, like getting your nails done is not gonna benefit you in your pregnancy. Getting a, you know, acupuncture or whatever it is that people do these days for like body wellness is going to help your pregnancy, supposedly. And so I understand where you're coming from, and I understand where a lot of surrogates are coming from, but I think that's why this conversation's so important, because we all feel so guilty, and we don't have to. We don't have to. It's hard.
I feel guilty for like getting my copay from after insurance back. Like,
Oh, I know. I felt like that too.
For like that reimbursement, I felt bad because I'm like, well, they already paid for my medical insurance. They, you know, and I have to go to physical therapy, and I have to go to see the chiropractor twice a week for like 3 weeks straight right now. And the chiropractor alone, that's $30 every time I go. And so I felt guilty, but I was like, do I wonder if I get this money back? Because I'm like, I am not rich by any means. So I'm curious. And so I just reached out to my coordinator, and she never makes me feel that way, but deep down, I feel kind of bad.
It's because surrogates have good hearts. Like, that's literally, it's because it's like, it's not BS, it's true. We have good hearts, and that just goes to show we're not in it just for the money. Like, we want to be compensated because of everything that we're doing, but we're not in this just for the money, because like we feel bad about taking like little things here and there. Like, we don't want to ask for the additionals. We don't want to be like, oh, you know what, no, we can pay this. And sometimes in my past journeys, I just paid for stuff and didn't tell them about it.
I did that with my first too.
Yeah,
I was doing that, and then my coordinator she's like, what the hell were you doing? I was like, no.
Did that in the beginning too.
yeah, but it's just, it's okay to ask. I think that that's what we have to say to like, we have to tell each other it's okay, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, but in the end it's okay. And like, yeah, go ahead, you can no one can tell you to not feel guilty, no one can tell you to not feel how you're feeling, but just know that it's okay to feel that, and it's okay to also ask. Well, Rachel, did you want to say something? Because I kept seeing you go.
Oh, I was gonna say, and that's why I don't ask for house cleaning and babysitting, because those are two things that those two things I've never asked for. I've never had them, so I'm like, why ask for them, type of thing. So it's like, and like it'd be kind of dumb of me to ask for acupuncture because I've never done it in my life. So it's kind of like, you know, I'm not trying to be like, well, since I've never done this, I'm gonna go and ask for this, and since type of thing.
Mhm.
So, but each their own. I know.
I am the housekeeper. I am the housekeeper. I had a house cleaning business before this that I had to let go for my intended parents. They asked that I would not clean during this pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, dude, my house stresses me out because I can like see the dust on my baseboards, and I'm like,
Oh, girl, don't come to my house.
it's not like I can't just sit, like, it sounds silly because I'm like, I can dust, like, no problem. But it's what sucks with this pregnancy is that any major activity, I hurt. I guess I start getting like really crampy and really hurt, like bad in my stomach. And so I was like, okay, like we're just gonna take a step back. But because they requested that of me and that was my income, I requested housekeeping in return. Like, okay, then you can help pay for my housekeeping. And they don't pay much. So actually a good chunk of that comes out of my pocket anyways. So I can get that going.
Samantha! Oh my
The
gosh.
contract was already signed and I didn't realize what other companies charge because what I charged for house cleaning was like nothing compared to a company, like a big company.
Wow.
So for our like 3-bedroom townhouse, it's like $200. It's more than $200 every like couple weeks.
Wow.
So, and they only give me $200 a month. And so I'm like,
200 a month for house cleaning?
yeah. And so I was like, okay, so I end up paying about $100 out of our pocket just so like we have something to help kind of keep up. I have bunnies, bunny hair goes everywhere. So I'm like, they're not about to like let my house go. But
and that's another reason why this conversation is so important, because now you've learned from this. So if they ask you to, if you do a second journey, then now you know what, I'm gonna calculate this. I know how much it's gonna be. So like this is how much I'm gonna have to request.
Yeah.
I was always curious how housekeeping works. I know it's in my contract. I know I don't need it like right now at all, of course. But when I get further along, now I have a huge house. Like I bought a house last year and it's huge. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to clean this when I'm like so tired and pregnant. Like already when I'm pregnant, everything usually falls on my husband and he's so sweet to pick it all up and do everything. But I'm like, oh my gosh, you poor guy. Everything's like literally on you now to do everything. I'm sorry.
Oh. I've never used housekeeping. It's always been in my contracts, but I also have like never.
It does say optional, so I don't have to utilize it. I'm choosing.
Okay. Yeah, I know that it's optional. I mean, a couple agencies, it's like, no, there's the money, you do it. But I know that it's going to be optional in my contract, and I've never used it before because I always lived with my parents, so like my mom cleaned, which sounds really entitled, but like
help me.
yeah. But so I might utilize it, but I don't know how that works because they told me that I get house cleaning for, it can't surpass $100 a day, I think is what they said. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, like, is that a lot? Is that a little? I don't know how it is out here in California to clean a house. Like, I don't know. I don't know what
you
it
better
is.
look at some cleaning ladies.
I
see how much they charge you. Or are they talking about like a
I have no idea.
Questions on that for sure, because I mean, if you just want your house cleaned maybe like once a month or every 2 weeks, how's that gonna go? And then you would submit the invoice. They would send you the invoice, you submit it to escrow. I know that. I have to put all of the bills and everything that's in my name into escrow. And then they pay me so I can pay the bill. It's stressful.
Oh my,
I know, I like doing that. As I previously, before I just submitted it to an agency. My agency, I think my agency was just like a matching place because they are like MIA since haven't talked to them since January. So I'm like, okay.
oh no.
Yeah, so I clearly they don't do that, but I have to submit everything to escrow, and I don't like escrow is nice. They're very kind to me, but I don't like doing that. I don't like submitting every little receipt and then they ask me questions. I'm like, I am stressed out. Stop asking me questions. What does it say? Like I don't like it. at all. I think that's like the worst part of this entire journey is just having to do that part. Just because I don't like doing that.
You're
I
not
don't like
making
having
this.
to send it in, and then they ask me questions. I didn't do this right. I'm like, what? What am I doing wrong?
Insurance was billed properly, or I missed that the insurance wasn't billed at
Mhm.
all. And so then I have to go back and call the insurance or call the doctor's office and be like, bill it, figure it out so I can figure it out. And there's times where like my coordinator is doing everything for me at that point because I'm like, hey, this is stressing me out. I can't. You
I
take
really
over.
liked having a coordinator. That was so wonderful with my last journey.
Yeah.
I missed that because they were so helpful. I just handed all of them the receipts and they did everything and processed payments.
Yeah.
Well, my
was
original
nice.
coordinator was like, no.
With escrow, I think it depends on the escrow company. Because I
Yeah.
know with my last journey, I would just log in, put my IP's name, my name, what was it for, blah, blah, boop, boop, bam, submit it. And that was it.
That's it's easy, but then they have questions about it, and I have to submit every single receipt, which I totally understand. They don't want me to like randomly submit like my gas bill or something like that.
Yeah.
And totally understand the intended parent should only be paying for surrogacy stuff, but it's just like stressful to me to make sure I have everything. I even forgot like a huge bill that I needed to be reimbursed for, and I spaced out like 3 days later. I was like, can't I can't do that. I can't work and do all this and like keep this. It was stressing me out. I was like, I cannot believe that we forgot that huge bill that needed to be paid. Like,
You guys are stressing me out.
you're
I
gonna
don't
do
want
fine.
to. I don't want to do escrow now. Like,
No, it's just go off of who you have.
Yeah, just you'll be fine. It's kind of like how Rachel was saying, like I sign in to my account, like they sign you up for an account, however it's going to be easier for you. And I sign in, I put in, I'm the surrogate. I put in the amount, what it's for, and a picture. I have to have a picture.
Yes.
okay.
So what's weird is like when I got like my med reimbursement, like
I put a picture of me and my meds.
like
For this?
I took a picture of my calendar because I was like, what am I supposed to put? Like
I know. I was confused about that too.
Oh, how funny. Okay.
Yeah.
I have seed trust. I like my seed trust.
I was gonna
It's very
ask you
simple.
guys.
me too, that's what I have, yeah.
Yeah. You
I
were
don't
explaining it,
know.
and I was like, you have to have seed trust.
I don't know who I have. I don't know yet. I'm not that far along. I don't know. But I know some agencies, I know some escrows are doing apps now. So
They just
that's
switched
also
over.
nice.
They switched that over.
Yeah,
but
and you can
like,
see like your
oh, you can see everything.
you can see your base. You can see your base, and then they'll take it out for you and everything. But it depends on the escrow. So I don't know how many of them have it or what. So
Yeah, if I need something automatically taken out and put in my account, like I know because they pay for my insurance premium, that I just had to contact my coordinator and be like, hey, I just want, or your escrow, like whoever you would contact for that. I could have contacted a gal from escrow and just say, hey, I want this automatically put into my bank account. So then it's there and it's automatically being taken out anyway. So that way I don't have to like go back and just be like, now I need to be reimbursed however much and worry about it. So it's just automatically gets put in and then I can just chill. So you can always do that too. Can't do it for everything, but you can try.
Wait, when you say reimbursed, are you fronting it?
Well, like if I were fronting the medical premium, then yeah, I would have to put in like I got the invoice for that. So then I send it in. But instead I asked for something like that if we could do an automatic out of my account.
Got it.
Slip it in there.
Very interesting. I'm not going to think about it for a while, but I'm happy that you're all surviving.
Wait. Isn't that what the monthly allowance is for?
My monthly allowance to take home. My medical
that's different.
Separate. So they have to pay that out of pocket. Same with like all my additionals are maternity, housekeeping, like maternity clothes, housekeeping, what else? the medical premium, those are additional. Breastfeed, if I wanted to pump milk, that's additional.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah, the pumping, yeah. But because I know in some contracts they're like, oh, like when you go, when you have your appointments and stuff and all that, yada yada yada, that comes out of your monthly allowance. So
Yep, not mine.
That's me.
yeah, that's nice. That's interesting. That's nice. That's very interesting to know. Learn something new.
Yeah, I've had things like that. I've had journeys like that where I got an allowance and then mileage and everything else and like appointments, stuff like that. That was all separate.
It's
But
blowing my mind that you guys get mileage.
you don't get
Well, you
mileage?
don't get
I don't get mileage.
Rachel. Wow.
I have to reach a certain amount of mileage
Yep.
to actually get reimbursed for it.
yeah,
I think
same
I have
here.
to travel to be able to have that.
Yeah.
Like I be traveling and like there's no reason to. I'm so close to everything. It's stupid.
Oh, okay. I have to my round trip has to be more than 50 miles, which it will be when I go to the doctor's.
Mine has to be over 100.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Guys, contracts are so
I thought that was the norm.
Mine's like 60.
Damn.
wow.
Oh Lord, okay. Bring it down.
I'm sorry, I'm just like reading some of these, but how this is what people are pressed about. If you make money, it's oh, okay. Oh, well, we kind of already talked about that, but somebody just wants to say that like how if we make money, they're not saying this, but they're upset that people say that as surrogates, if we make money, it's demonic, but if it's free, it's oh, you're so sweet.
Right. Where the altruistic comes in. I'm like, no, we're all altruistic.
Right. And now none of us are Canada. We did talk to a Canadian agency, and they get compensated, but it's just differently, and it's nowhere near what what stateside is. So it's just it works differently.
I had someone reach out to me because they found out my intended parents are in Hong Kong. So they reached out to me. I can say that legally, it's fine. I was like, oh God.
No, you're good.
They reached out to me saying like, hey, they just legalized surrogacy there like this year. They just legalized it, so she could be a surrogate there now. And I was like, oh snap, that's cool. Okay, and so she was asking me like what I get paid and stuff, and I said, I'm not comfortable sharing that, but or like if they get paid. And I said, I think you should reach out to your local agency or fertility clinic or whoever you're going through.
Yeah.
And reach out and ask that, because I don't know. I'm not in Hong Kong. I wouldn't know. Until she said something about how they just legalized surrogacy there, I would never have known.
Yeah.
So
I mean, good for Hong Kong.
Right. It should
I don't think they get paid at all.
Is the US the only country that allows surrogates to be paid?
I think so.
In Australia they can't.
Yes.
In the UK,
I don't be a surrogate, they just can't get paid, which I think is crazy.
Right.
Yeah. I actually don't know what countries compensate. I mean, I know Australia doesn't. One of my couples was from there. Shanghai. No, one of my couples was from there.
Your couple from Australia?
Yeah, my second journey.
Oh my goodness. They probably had such a long flight back home.
Oh, you have no idea. That's a whole it was a crazy thing for them. But yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, but I know you three are in legal states. Is Idaho legal? I think so, right? For surrogacy?
Still here.
Okay, yeah.
I never knew that Nevada was, because during my first journey, I wanted to go to Las Vegas. My husband's brother was getting married, and I wanted to go to the wedding. I wasn't that far. I was 27 weeks, so not like super far along. And they wouldn't let me go because they said that surrogacy is illegal in Las Vegas. And if something were to happen, it wouldn't be good for my intended parents. So I sat very sad at home.
Maybe
all
they just didn't
alone.
want you to go to Sin City.
I know. I was like, I'm literally pregnant. I would never do anything crazy. But yeah, I felt so sad to go. They're like, yeah, it's illegal. And I was like, oh. And then when Rachel was like, yeah, I'm in Las Vegas, I was like, it's illegal there. But no, it's not.
No, it's not. I did just find out that it's not, I guess surrogacy is not legal in Arizona.
Oh, really?
Really?
We just did a podcast, and the
I
guy who
thought
came,
Nebraska, Michigan, and Louisiana that you can't be compensated. It has to be
Yeah.
altruistic.
and well, I know Indiana is illegal, and so is Virginia. And because my IPs are from one and my clinic's in the other. It's just so funny.
Now, I did hear people say it's not that it's illegal.
Sorry.
It's just they can't get. Yeah, I don't want people in the comments.
Thank you.
Surrogacy is legal.
Thank you,
everywhere.
Rachel. Yes, it's not that it's illegal. It's just that it's not welcomed with open arms and like
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ay. I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else that like we didn't really touch on? I mean, we went on so many tangents, but like it's all good. I'm happy that we still got to do. It's like Ellen was here because we still got to go on tangents because she loves to do that. But I don't know. I think we covered the majority of it. I think that the main thing about compensation is ask what you deserve. Know your worth. It's okay. It's okay to ask for more, and it's okay if the agency says we can't do that. Okay, then maybe you're not the agency for me. Thank you. Like
Exactly.
no bad blood. It's all good.
I wish I would have done.
I know. But we're doing this for people like you, Samantha.
Appreciative of it.
And it's okay to talk about
Not a learning
compensation
lesson.
because I feel like it's kind of like people in their jobs. Oh, I can't tell you. Yeah, I can't tell you how much I make at my job. Da 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 da. But
Yeah,
go ahead. If you feel comfortable talking about it, go ahead and talk about it. But if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, that's okay too. But we're here to help everybody. We all need to surrogates need to stand together and help each other out so we ain't getting freaking bamboozled and whatnot.
Oh my gosh, exactly. And I want to throw something else really quick into the conversation is that we get compensated, and a lot of the times it's surrogacy benefits both parties. It benefits the IPs because they're getting a family, and it benefits the surrogate and her family because they maybe they're in debt, maybe they want to buy a house, maybe one of them wants to go back to school. Like there's so many different reasons. So it's surrogacy helps everybody in every situation, and it's just not looked at it like that. It's like you get paid, yeah, but what am I doing that I shouldn't be being compensated for, in my personal opinion? And then what did I do with it afterwards? I bought a house. So like I have no shame in my surrogate game. I am perfectly happy. Yeah. It's okay. And my something that somebody said to me, and it was an IP, and they had messaged me and they said, I want to get her words right. She said, without people like surrogates, we wouldn't have our family. So if we know in the end that you're getting something for your family, that makes us happy, because if we had $1 billion, we would give it to you, because this is the only we can't tell you how grateful we are for the gift that you have and that you're willing to give us. And I just thought that was like so sweet, and
that's so sweet.
It took like a lot of my guilt away, because I got this message right after I shared my third journey, and I was just like, that is extremely nice to hear that IP, like not all, I don't know, I can't speak for all IPs, but that it's a common thing where IPs are like, yeah, please, it's okay. Like we know going into this what this means, and you're helping not just our family but your family. I don't know.
And I would also like to say that when people are like, oh, surrogates shouldn't get compensated. Yeah, I did not get compensated for about that full whole year and some change. Surrogates do not get paid until either after contracts or after meds, probably. And that takes time.
Seriously,
I started my third journey in early of 2022. So, and I'm just now pregnant. And again, you don't get compensated until heartbeat or sometimes even further along. Some people it's not until 12
That's
weeks.
nerve-wracking
So
to get
it's-
that spot. I don't know. To me, it was nerve-wracking. I'd be like, please have a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
It was so
Yeah.
nerve-wracking, and not just so I could get paid, but it was just nerve-wracking all around. Because like,
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. I know, like that's what people think like when they hear like you get paid at heartbeat, of course that you're hoping and like wanting that heartbeat. I want that heartbeat because we look at everything we just went through. Like especially like I just went through a failed transfer and now we finally are pregnant. Oh my god, that would crush my goddamn heart if something were to happen like that. It doesn't even matter if all of a sudden I would get a paycheck afterwards. It would just be, is the baby okay? Like that's always going to be my first concern is baby okay? Has heartbeat? Wonderful. It's not like, oh, yep, big payday that time. Like, absolutely not. Like, that's, I don't think I've heard people say, even if you are in it for transactional purposes, I highly doubt that's what you're thinking first.
Yeah, no, because how could you? If you thought that, then you're not in the right area. You're not doing this for the right reasons.
and they exist. I know they exist.
Yeah, there's
Those
many
people,
of them.
oh, yeah.
Like a few people have told me, like, I'm in it for transactional purposes. I understand that that's completely fine. I'm not appalled by that. You are entitled to that. You are still doing everything that we are doing. If you want to have a relationship with your intended parents and you were just doing this so you can pay off your debt, that's fine. You do however you need to do. But some people aren't like that. They want to have a relationship. They want to bond with the parents, and it's just a little bit more. Both are fine, but still.
Yeah.
I was gonna add on to that, like I wonder how many people go into it transactionally, but then come out like, oh damn, like I got feelings for the IPs and all this stuff,
Right.
and you know what I mean? Like, shoot, maybe
Probably many. I feel like
I gotta find someone and ask them. Like, so do you still feel these transactions?
I think it depends on, and this is me speaking from my experience, I think it depends on if both parties are going to it transactionally, because if they are, then neither party is going to give the effort. And so if one party's going in as like, oh yeah, but like I just don't see those I don't see those matches working out if one party's going in like, yeah, let's be friends, and then the other party's like, no, it's business. It's like, oh, you guys are not gonna connect.
Like in the beginning of my journey, it was all business. I really did, because I had that failed transfer. I had my first transfer ever. It was completely failure, completely chemical. I was like heartbroken. I was distraught by it. Only I think more so because I was already heartbroken for them. Then they cut me off. They wanted no contact with me.
And you're not the first surrogate I've heard of that happening to.
Why? Because I instantly just messaged them and said, I'm so sorry, I'm here for you, whatever you need. Like, trying to be there for them, trying to be their support person, because they don't have, like, they have their family, but like their family's so small. So I was like, probably don't have as much support as like I probably do. So I just want to be there. But they didn't want that. And then that's fine. But it felt very business-like on how they went about that. And then how we went into the second go around. Like, it felt very businessy almost. And I didn't want that. I was like, I don't want any part of this if it's going to be business. So I almost dropped them before my second transfer, because I was like, well, I need some time to think. And then their feelings got hurt, and like all the things. I was like, I'm not trying to hurt feelings, but like, when you go into it like that, it really affects more than just you. And I don't think many think about that.
And I think it does a lot of emotional and mental damage because you're not going into it like that. If you're not going into it business thoughts and it ends up like that, it's like a big heartbreak. It's like breaking up with like I don't know. It's a huge disappointment. It's really hard.
what I'm dealing with, but something that kind of, for me, it supplemented in a way to like not make it feel so. I decided to see if they were willing to like bring the baby into the world with the midwife, like grab that baby out of there.
Aw.
And just to kind of have some control. So then that way, to me, it didn't feel so transactional, didn't feel businessy for me. I think that's what mattered most, was like, I was like, okay, I just don't want to give birth and then they bounce, they vanish.
Yeah.
Because they know they're not staying. I don't think they're staying in my state.
Oh, okay.
I think they're leaving shortly after. So I'm like, to kind of help supplement that, I was like, let's do this. So then you guys have some control and I can feel at peace that you guys are actually excited about this. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, not to prolong this conversation or nothing, but I do have a question. Maybe we could do it for another talk thing. But how do you guys feel about agencies like giving more to first time surrogates? Do you feel like that it will end up being like transactional, like, oh, we want to give you like 80,000 for your first time, like.
Okay. I have a quick thing on this.
Okay.
Right now in California, you will see billboards, especially in LA, make up to $150,000 as a surrogate. Yeah, right. Let's just talk about this really quick. You will not, I don't care who you are, if you're going with an agency, you're not going to make $150,000 ever. And I mean like ever. Like if it's your first time, your second time, maybe your fifth time, but in order to reach that, you're going to have multiple babies in your tummy. You're going to have to go through like invasive procedures to get these added on bonuses. You might have to lose a fallopian tube or a hysterectomy. Like it's all of that. That's what the up to $150,000 is. It's all the things you don't want to happen.
Right. Hear of all these horrific things that can happen, but you will get $150,000. Like,
Right.
You may not have to be able to have babies no more.
Right.
Here's
But you
150,000.
didn't want anymore.
Exactly, but that's not what's advertised in there. So it's
Right.
very falsely advertised because like just speaking as someone who lives in a surrogate friendly state and being on her fourth journey, I'm not even making $100,000. Like I could if I really didn't care about who I matched with, but like I care because I've been through this and like
Yeah.
and I don't want it to be businessy. So I care, but it's yeah, if agencies just start throwing money at people, the wrong people, I personally think, are going to come in. And it's going to cause the biggest earthquake in surrogacy world. I just
But
don't
aren't
see
they
it.
already so picky? I mean, in my state, on who is able to be a surrogate, like who can move
Yeah,
forward.
requirements are like very picky, but I have seen surrogates right now who are higher on the BMI chart, very high, and they have had preeclampsia, which is not good, and they're still being passed to go for surrogacy because it's so needed. And I'm like, that is
It's
it.
not a
That alone has me so irked. Like, I think that has me more irked than anything about like compensation wise, because it's about the safety of the baby. Like, I understand you are so transactional about this that you're going to do anything in your power to be able to do this, but how shady of those, what clinic are you using to do that? Because what is it called?
ASRM or something like that.
Yeah, that. Like, they have requirements, like, which is why I have to be done after this, because I'm past the C-section point. Like, if they can sit there and do it after having all of that, like, that's what irks me. I'm like, excuse me, but you are not supposed to be doing this.
I was shocked that I was even passed because I had a miscarriage in my past.
Oh, that's not a disqualification.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm going to try, but I had the expectation that I was going to be denied because of that. And I was, obviously it's false because here I am, but like,
yeah,
I'd never had anything dangerous like that though. So yeah, I mean,
preeclampsia is absolutely nothing to be like, oh, it's fine. Yes, I understand that it can be only in one pregnancy and you could never have it again.
Yeah.
But it is so, like, so many people have lost their babies through that, and it just irks
Well,
me.
and also like preeclampsia is it's such a health risk to the carrier herself. Like even if she were to go on to get pregnant herself, that is putting herself at risk for getting it again. And that's why even I don't know. I mean, I know that I know of at least one IP that had to get a surrogate because she had preeclampsia and it
Right.
wasn't safe for her. And
like she knew that, and so and then here's a surrogate helping another family. I'm like, I don't know.
no, yeah, and like
that
I mean,
feel-
I think a lot of the fault is within whoever is allowing that surrogate to go forward, because you're not just jeopardizing her, you're jeopardizing everybody involved. Like, but
right.
especially her health, her life, and the health and life of an unborn baby. Like, oh man. I will say, I have a I have a I know a girl, I have a friend, and she has a little bit higher of a BMI, but she was a surrogate already, like before. And so like she's coming back and doing it again. And it's just a little higher, but it's kind of like her past baby weight, like what she just had. Like, you know what I mean? So like it's just like, so they were just so she had to go with a certain agency that had a little bit higher, but she had, she's completely healthy otherwise. But that doesn't, I'm not saying that
Right.
that's everybody.
I'm talking about the people who are way
no, for sure, that are like
and
absurdly.
I'm just over here like, what's happening?
But it's crazy because there is such a need for surrogates, but they're willing. That's what's a bummer. Like it's becoming such a money draw. Like, and it's like surrogacy is not all about the money. It's great. I don't think anybody who makes money being a surrogate is going to tell you that it's awful, because it's
like they need like a real life documentary on how surrogacy actually freaking works.
Girl,
because all I could think of was baby.
Like, oh my gosh, right?
It's like, is that how it is? Like, is that
or friends?
Is that what they're allowed? Like, what?
Yeah.
I am Phoebe.
Okay, I love my friends. I love my friends, but technically, Phoebe shouldn't have been a surrogate either.
Well, that's a whole other topic. There's so many things wrong with that, but
and I didn't realize that until after being a surrogate. Like, now that I'm like,
yeah. And also, she would have never pushed out 3 babies.
Right.
Just saying. But I think we covered a lot. I think we covered the majority of it. Compensation is tricky, but I really appreciate you girls and Autumn. I appreciate all of you for coming on and talking about it and sharing personal details and everything, because I think it's a topic that's not talked about enough. Clearly, Samantha, you can attest to that, because had this conversation maybe been out there, it hopefully can, prevent things in the future. Hi, cutie.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Well, if nobody has anything else to say, we can say goodnight. I appreciate you all so much.
Thanks for having
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Super
Until
fun.
the next one.
Yes.
Girl, next week. All right. Well, have a good night, ladies. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies. You are all so wonderful. It feels so weird doing this without my mom, but you were greatly missed, Ellen. We love you. So compensation's tricky. Compensation still needs to have more conversations about it. Everybody's situation and experience with compensation is clearly different, but hopefully this conversation opens up other conversations, because it's definitely needed. So thank you again, ladies, and this has been another episode of Stop.Sit.Surrogate Friday Facts. So if you guys have any questions or would like to share your story, please feel free to reach out to me at Stop.Sit.Surrogate on Instagram. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.